Welcome to the Fail Forward Podcast. I've met many people over the years who have failed and given up. The point of this podcast is to get people to understand that failure is part of the process. Welcome back to the Fail Forward Podcast. Yes, I did. I got the most likely to go to jail award at the school prom. You can imagine my mum, how happy she was that in my record of achievement, I had no exam results, but I just had an award, which was the most likely to go to jail award. Bit embarrassing and not great, but the point of this episode is really to talk around all of the little failures that have happened through my life and how many times I've had to reinvent myself. And that just because something goes wrong, it doesn't mean you have to stop. It's where the learning happens. Like I said at the beginning of this podcast really is about getting people to understand that failure is part of the process. The most successful people on the planet understand that failure is part of the process. And when I got the most likely to go to jail award, I was obviously devastated that I'd failed my GCSEs and that things weren't great. But my dad said to me, look, son, just go out, work and work really hard and everything else will work itself out. And also start a business when you're young. So I started my business when I was 24. But over the last 24 years since I left school, which makes me feel really old when I say that now, I have failed so many times at so many different things, and at different points in my life, I've had to reinvent myself. I've had my drug addiction. I've had so many other different things, business failure, all sorts of different things that have happened through my life. But when you start to look at those difficult, tragic things, you realise that that's where I had the most learning. Like recently, when I had my stroke back on October the 9th, that was another setback in my life that I actually managed to be able to turn around into a positive. I managed to have 3 months off work and be able to spend lots of time with my family, my wife, my kids. I had a lot of confidence issues after it first happened. Every time I sneezed, I thought I was going to have another stroke. It was difficult. It was dark. I went to some dark places. But at every given opportunity, I used that as fuel to be able to learn and understand what happened in the build up to the stroke and what could I do differently. And like I've talked about in previous episodes, our ego gets in the way quite often. But the point is that when you fail, you learn, and that's where the learning happens. And a lot of people fail and they stop. And that's what I really want you to be thinking about is at what point in your life do you need to reinvent yourself? Like, we get caught into a cycle of habits and who we are and who we think we need to be in society and around friends. But you've got to put yourself out your comfort zone and work out what it is that's to this day, you're exactly where you are in life because of your own actions, because of the things that you've done through your life, through your adult life since you've left school. You are where you are because of the decisions that you've made. So if you're not exactly where you want to be, you've got every opportunity to make different decisions to get to where you need to get to. And quite often that needs a different change of thought. It needs to be thinking about who you need to be or what you need to be. Like when I went through my drug addiction, I had a great counsellor. I saw maybe a dozen counsellors, and the very last one was a great counsellor, and I actually tried looking him up last night because I wanted to send him a message. And he asked me some great questions. Who do you want to be? Where do you want to be in 5 years? You know, all the things we talk about in business and business planning, but it was about who I wanted to be, not where my business is, not where, what I want to have on my dream board, what goals do I want to hit. It was, who do you want to be in 5 years' time? And at that specific time, I wanted to be a father. I wanted to have a home for my family. I wanted to be a good businessman, and I wanted to help people with drug addiction and people that are on the streets with being homeless. And what that guide then did is he did a meditation, and we did this meditation and we put it out there, and those things started to happen, and it helped me reinvent myself after my drug addiction. And not long after I actually became clean, I then had my daughter Esme, and then Ned, and then we've got our family home. And these things happen because we set the intention, and I had to reinvent myself again after my drug addiction. So the point of this episode really is that you are going to have adversity, difficult things to happen, and we can either get ourselves into a place where we blame other people or we get our heads down and we think that the world's against you. Because I've had it. The amount of times I've thought that I'm just not supposed to be successful. I'm just not supposed to have money. I'm not supposed to be a business owner. I'm not supposed to have X, Y, Z, because your mind is a very good job of playing tricks on us to say that if it get into that victim mindset. And I've been there so many times. But the only way to get over that is by setting goals, setting intentions, and realizing that those feelings are part of the process to get you to better times. Because when you're feeling dark, when you're feeling in a bad place, a negative, low in confidence, that's all of the building of understanding the person that you don't want to be to work out the person you do want to be. And you want to be searching for finding that confidence, being able to go and do it. And at first you might not be able to work it all out, but the point is you never give up. You never give up, and you understand the dark times are difficult times. That is part of the process of learning about who you are and what you want to be and where you want to be in life. I'm 40 years old, and I know that if I lost everything again tomorrow, I'd be able to reinvent myself again. And it takes a lot of time to do that. But once you realize that failure is part of the process, that failure is the learning, failure is where we really learn about the nitty gritty in life. When business was good for me, I didn't learn a lot because business was simple. Money was coming in the bank, it was going out the bank, I was spending money, I was enjoying life. It was really in the dark times that I really learned. And the amount of people since I've been on this Fail Forward journey that have got failure stories. I'm not just I'm not individual. This podcast is not about me saying my failure is something unique. Now I know there are millions, billions of people out there who have all faced failures and adversity, but it's how you deal with that will help you continue to work out where you need to go in your life and to create the success. It's the fact that you don't stop and you don't ever give up, that you understand that failure is part of the process, which will get you the success that you need in your life. So my final thought on this episode is what do you need to do? Who do you need to be? And what difficult times have happened in your life that you can then look back at and learn from now to be able to create the success that you need to in your life. So go and fail forward, understand that failure is part of the process, and create the success that you need and deserve. Thank you for listening to podcast today. I'm on a mission to get people to understand that failure is part of the process. So please share this far and wide, like and subscribe.